Just before we start the episode, here's a trailer for another podcast. If you like what you hear, go and check it out.
Do you love listening to true crime stories?
Do you react out loud to details of the case?
Do you have a dark and twisted sense of humor?
Do you love cats?
Wait, what?
Then you should listen to our podcast, ODFM, One from Murder.
Each week, you'll hear our retelling of real-life murder cases, some famous, some little known.
We'll give you our in-the-moment reactions, inappropriate humor, and the occasional feline commentary.
You can listen to ODFM Podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, YouTube, and more.
And check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or on our website, odfmpodcast.com.
But remember, this podcast is not for the faint of heart.
Or those without a twisted sense of humor.
Hello and welcome to Crime Divers. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jill.
And join us for this week's episode as we dive into Stalked and Murdered.
Hello everybody, welcome back.
Hi.
So, this is actually the last episode of Series 1.
Oh, and the last of the year.
And the last of the year, yeah. So, and what we've actually decided to do, since it's the end of the series, it's the end of the year, what have we decided to do?
We are going to start the new year exploring the world, and we're going to have some cases from around the world now.
Yeah, we decided that, although we have been concentrating on UK crime since we started, but we thought, you know what, why not? Let's broaden our horizons and see what else there is in the world.
I think there's a lot of interesting cases around the world as well. So
Well, there's a lot of interesting cases everywhere, but I think with the UK, obviously there's lots of cases, but I was kind of getting to feeling that we're kind of limiting ourselves, and I don't like to feel limited. I like to, because you know, when I was looking for cases, and even if I typed in to the internet UK crime, a lot of the time I would see a case and I'd be like, oh, that looks good. I would click into it and it would be like in America, you know. So
yeah.
I don't want to be limited anymore. I think we should just we'll still have the odd UK one in there.
Definitely. I think it's just that as long as the crime is worth
telling the story, yeah. Like, if that story needs to be heard,
yeah, we shall do it.
We shall do it, and I think we should try and not do the really popular ones, like, you know, like the Ted Bundys and all that. You know, we're not going to be going into that because everybody's heard.
Yeah. I'd like to find sort of more ones that I've not heard of before. And
well, yeah, I mean, like, we might do ones that people have heard of, but we might not necessarily have heard of them, so it'll still be interesting for us to do, and hopefully the way we put our spin on it, then it'll still be interesting to other people. But I think everybody's heard enough about, as I said, Ted Bundy, the Golden State Killer, the Zodiac. I think
yeah,
you know,
they're quite big ones, aren't
yeah,
they?
Everybody's sort of heard all those ones. So, and I would like to do, you know, we're kind of saying American stuff. I don't want, it's not just going to be America. It's going to be worldwide, everywhere. Yeah. Just whenever we see a case that interests us, that fascinates us,
absolutely,
we feel the story needs to be told, we're going to tell it, no matter where it's from.
Exactly.
So
hopefully you can join us.
Yeah, hopefully you can join us in the new year. After this season, we're going to have a week off. And then I think it's did I say the 12th of January we'll be back?
Yes. So
yeah, we're only just a week off, just have a wee break, and as I said, come back with
some new exciting episodes.
Yeah, some new exciting episodes, so hopefully you will join us then.
Cool, so we're dive into this one then?
Yeah, we'll dive into the last episode of the season, and it's called Stalked and Murdered. So I thought I would just kind of...
Wonder what happened in this one
Well,
then.
yeah, I mean, it's pretty obvious what happened. But I just thought it'd be quite good to bring a bit of awareness to stalking, because,
it happens,
you know, and especially now with the internet, it is something that's happening more and more now, because it's obviously easier to target people, Yeah,
every day it's happening.
So, let's dive in.
Let's dive in.
Okay, so Molly McLaren was from Kent in England. She was studying health and fitness at the University of Kent. She could motivate anyone around her with not much effort. She loved exercise and she put 100% into everything. And because of that, she got excellent grades. Mm-hmm. She had a bouncy, lively personality and was always full of enthusiasm. She also had a part-time job at Ted Baker, and at work she always had a smile on her face and would brighten up everyone's day. Molly and her friends were very active online. So they would post their daily activities, their food pictures, their positive quotes. You know, what we see, you know, what...
Yeah, exactly. It's.
I mean, she was at this, you know, at this point she was, well, when she started uni, I think she was 21, but the story sort of ends when she's 23. So,
right, okay.
But yeah, like people of that age, that's what they do, isn't it? So they would use like Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, WhatsApp, like, all the popular,
all the modern day.
Yeah, she was just the same as any other young person.
Yeah.
So Molly also started her own fitness blog. She was really into high intensity training in the gym, and she was always posting videos of her gym workouts. I don't understand that. I'm not a gym person. I do not like the gym.
I do like the gym, but not at the moment. It's not the same at the moment.
No, I think with the COVID, it's different.
It's not good at the moment, but generally I do like the gym. But yeah, so there are some people that take it to extreme though.
Yeah,
very dedicated to it.
Yeah, but Molly enjoyed it, and you know that's obviously what she wanted to do for a living. She wanted to get PT, so you know, each to their own. But I do not understand exercise. I don't like it. I don't like it. So anyway, but unfortunately though, Molly she did struggle a bit with her mental health, like anxiety, and she had an eating disorder.
Oh right, okay.
So she had bulimia. But every day she had to make a conscious decision to stay on track and like just not allow this disorder like to sort of take over her. Mm-hmm. So, and one bit of advice, I quite like this. One bit of advice that Molly would always give to her friends was, just find one good thing about every day and your thoughts and your mind shift. Right, there we go. Every time. Mm-hmm. I knew it would happen.
Yeah.
One bit of advice that Molly would always give to her friends was, just find one good thing about every day and your thoughts and mindset will shift. Which I thought was quite, you know, if you're feeling down, just think of one good thing that's happened that day and it could change your whole, you know, if you focus on that, it can change the rest of your day. Mm-hmm. So I thought that was I thought that just shows that she was quite positive, even though she had her own struggles. Mm-hmm. You know, she would help out her friends, and I thought that was quite good. Because I think it must be hard if you're down yourself.
Yeah.
It must be hard to bring other people up.
Definitely. That's why I like our podcast recordings, because it's gives me something to be happy about for the day.
Yeah, every single week you end up in fits of giggles.
Well, it would be boring if I wasn't. I'm not serious all the time.
Yeah, I know, but like you were leaking today. The water was coming out of your mouth, out your eyes, out your nose. And what were you laughing at?
I can't even remember.
I think you were laughing at that you couldn't get what you were saying in the introduction. You couldn't get it right.
Couldn't get it right today.
You know, she's hopeless.
Yeah, you should be laughing at us if you could see how many takes it takes us sometimes.
Yeah, it took a few today. Mm-hmm. And that was just for the introduction. So anyway, back to this. Molly didn't have a lot of boyfriends. She was more interested in finding that special person that she just connected with, rather than like just sort of casual dating.
Yeah.
She decided to join Tinder. And on there, she met...
Tinder, is that where you swipe right, swipe left?
Well, you swipe somewhere, I don't know. I've never been on it. And that's where she met Joshua Stimpson, who lived 9 miles away from Molly, so fairly close. Mm-hmm. So they first started chatting in July 2016, and then they eventually met in person in the November. Mm-hmm. They started a relationship, and this was Molly's first serious boyfriend. Okay. So they had things in common. Like, he loved exercise as well. We'd go to the gym. Mm. And they both of them suffered with anxiety. Joshua had also struggled with depression and had been treated for it as a child. But Molly felt like they were helping each other get through it. Yeah. So Molly introduced Joshua to her parents soon after they met. Molly's mum, she said she was a bit apprehensive because when she first found out that he was bipolar.
Oh, right.
But she said that she never witnessed any sudden change in his mood, so I'm assuming he must have been,
you
know, on his medication and, you know, it was working for him, whatever.
Yeah.
So, in January 2017, Molly introduced Joshua to her friend Amelia. Amelia was one of our best friends from uni, so she was into exercise and everything as well.
Okay.
And they would record fitness videos and stuff with each other.
Yeah.
So they had a gym session, and Joshua joined them. But Amelia says she didn't like his behaviour, and he barely spoke to her. And after her and Molly left together, but Joshua was messaging Molly. I don't know what he said, but Amelia said he was trying to get in between her and Molly, so he must have been saying horrible things about Amelia.
Yeah.
Like to Molly.
And Molly just met her.
Yeah. So she was like straight away, it rang alarm bells for her.
Yeah.
She didn't like him. So Molly introduced him to all of her friends, over time, but she never met any of his.
Right, okay.
Which I would find very strange as well.
Strange.
Because, some people don't have a lot of friends, but surely you'd have at least one.
Well, maybe not.
Well, maybe not, but, at that age, I mean, he was 20, he must have been about 24, I think, when they first met, so you'd think he would at least have maybe one friend. No, he does have friends, actually, because later on, he mentions his friends, so he does have friends.
Well, obviously.
Or he did at some point.
He didn't want them to meet her?
Well, to me, if somebody doesn't want me to meet my boyfriend doesn't want me to meet their friends, then
Is it like he's ashamed of her, or he wants her to himself, or
well, yeah, that's
doesn't want to share?
The isolating thing, I think. As we'll see later on, I think.
A bit of control there.
Yeah. So in March 2017, Molly did seem to be a bit bored of the relationship, and they did break up, but not for long, and they got back together. But his behaviour started to get bad. Like, if Molly wanted a day of studying, he would tell her that he needed to be there for her. And he was very manipulative in his approach for them to spend time together.
Right.
And he would often turn up at her house unannounced.
No. I don't like that. I like to know who's coming, when they're coming.
Exactly. If I'm quite happy if you want to come and visit me.
Yeah.
Come and visit me, but just let me know that you're coming.
Well, exactly.
Even when I know that you're coming to my house, I'll still say to you, text me when you're on your way.
Yeah.
Because I like to know exactly.
Well, really, it's because I like you to get the kettle on so you can get my cup of tea. But generally, I'm the same. Like, I hate when people just turn up unannounced. That bugs the life out of me.
I don't like it.
I don't like it. I wouldn't do it to anybody else. And I hate it when it happens.
I did it to you once.
Did you?
Yeah, because it was when you were pregnant and I'd bought something. Me and John had been shopping and I'd bought something for the baby. And I was phoning you and texting you. And you weren't answering me, so I was like, do you know what? I'm just going to go and rock up at her door. Because I knew you were in.
Yeah.
And I just knocked on your door and walked in.
Ta-da! But to be fair, I don't think it wouldn't bother me so much if you came, because I don't have to...
You don't have to tidy up or, be dressed or...
but anybody else...
bra on.
Yeah. Exactly. But no, I don't like it.
No, I don't like it, and even if it was my boyfriend, I still wouldn't like it. No.
You still like to have an idea at least when you're coming.
Yeah, of course. So it sounds like, as I said before, it sounds like he was trying to isolate her by wanting to be with her all the time and trying to come between her and her friends.
Yeah.
So Molly began to feel like she needed more space in the relationship. She texted him to say they couldn't be together 24/7 and that she felt really pressured.
Which is fair enough.
So, yeah, I mean, she's quite entitled to do that.
Absolutely.
Totally reasonable, but he didn't take it well.
No.
And he sent some nasty texts back, but he made her feel like she was in the wrong, which that didn't surprise me at all. With the kind of person that he sounds like.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, in April, well, I'm assuming it was April because... Molly and her parents travelled to London to support Joshua and his brother as they were running in the London Marathon. And I did Google the London Marathon to see when it was, and it's usually in April, so I'm assuming it must have been in April.
Yeah, fair enough.
So Joshua's family were there as well. And they told Molly's mum that Molly was a good influence on Josh and that she pushed him to look at his future, so, they really liked her and everything, so that was good.
That's because she's probably normal.
Well, yeah. But later on that night, Molly and Joshua had an argument. Molly called her mum to come at the hotel room that they were staying in. Molly was... I think he must have left. He must have stormed out.
Right.
Do you like I was doing the hand gesture there? Molly was furious and she was pacing up and down and said to her mum, "You won't believe what he has done. He has been recording me and videoing me."
What?
Now, I'm sorry, that would have been it for me.
I would have been see you later.
No, yeah, that's it. You're not doing that.
No.
But, I'm not sure how soon after that, but she did end the relationship. Joshua wouldn't accept it, and he bombarded her with messages pleading for them to get back together. A few weeks later, she took him back.
Why would you take him back after that?
Well, her friends think that the only reason that she took him back was because he made her feel guilty. Because, you know, he'd done it in the past.
He must have had some hold over her then, really.
Yeah, I mean, well...
But, I mean, if you're recording and videoing me now, sorry.
No, I know.
I mean, I know maybe it's easier from us saying it now, unless you're in that situation, and I don't know, it's probably hard to say how you would react, but I'd like to think that I'd be like, no. Like, away you go, you're done.
Yeah, you're invading my privacy. No,
that's not acceptable.
No, it's not acceptable in the slightest.
Definitely not.
But as soon as they got back together, he just picked up where he left off. He would invite himself out on group nights out that he hadn't been invited to, and he just wanted to be with Molly all the time.
Right.
So, in a last-ditch attempt to save the relationship, Molly decided to go on holiday to Tenerife with Joshua. So she just wanted to see how the holiday went, just it being the two of them, just to see if it would make her feel any different about the situation, just to see if there was anything to save, basically, I think it was probably like a make or break kind of thing.
Okay.
But the holiday didn't go well, which, not surprising.
Not surprised, yeah.
And Molly reached out to her friends back home, and she was texting things like, oh, I thought this stuff was with Josh was going to pass, but it's not, and she also said it's the worst thing ever, help me. Mm-hmm. She just said that they just weren't getting along, and he wasn't listening to her. He just wasn't taking on board anything that she was saying.
Right, okay.
So when they came back, they were still together, they came back, and Molly went on a night out celebrating her birthday with her friends.
Yeah.
And although she'd been arguing with Joshua over Facebook Messenger for days, they were still a couple.
Right.
He had come along to the night out. Don't know if he was invited or not, but he was there.
He was there.
Yeah, and they went and sat at a table and they had an argument, and she just snapped, and she was like, "Right, that's it. I've had enough. Don't want to be with you anymore." So he got up, he shouted to the pub, "She's finished with me," in front of all her friends, and stormed out. So that was it. The relationship was over.
Right.
Thank goodness.
Yes.
But
obviously that wasn't the end.
No.
What a shame. But that's not, I mean, you should just be able to, you have that choice. If you don't want to be with somebody, you've got a choice to end it. And as much as maybe that person doesn't want that, they have to accept it. They have to come away to accept it.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, like, you can understand when somebody, if you don't want that to happen, you can understand you trying to talk to them and getting them to change their mind, but not what he's about to do.
No,
so,
definitely not. Definitely
so, Molly blocked Joshua's number. And then she blocked him on social media as he was still continuing to message her. Mm-hmm. She just wanted a clean break and no contact whatsoever with him.
Yeah, which is
understandable. Yeah, she's entitled to that. She shouldn't have to have any contact with him.
Exactly.
But Joshua started attacking her on Facebook. He would post malicious content about her, which she would be made aware of. Because some of her Facebook friends were still his Facebook friends. So
so he was just posting on his page.
Yeah.
She couldn't see it, but her friends were telling her.
Yeah, he was tagging people in it as well, so that they would see. So, like, although she didn't have him on Facebook, she was made aware.
Right.
He tried to publicly humiliate her by disclosing personal information and tagging her family in it.
Oh, God.
So, like, they would see, like, personal messages, you know, that obviously when they were together, I don't know what the content was, but, you know, it could have been quite sexy, just personal stuff.
Yeah.
You know, so and just things that she probably just didn't necessarily want other people to know about. You know, things.
We've all got a right to our privacy.
Yeah, exactly. It might not, as I said, it might not even have been like sexy stuff. It could just be like personal information about her anxiety or bulimia. Like it could have just been.
That's it.
When you confide in somebody, then you don't expect them to go and put it on Facebook, do you?
Absolutely not. But you have to be very wary of that these days because people clearly do that to you.
I know, it's awful. So Molly had spent a lot of time creating an online image of healthy living and fitness, and Joshua tried to ruin it by posting online that Molly used cocaine and tagging her family in the posts.
I'm assuming that wasn't true?
No, that wasn't true. She was really into her health and fitness, overcoming her bulimia, like, you know, she wasn't doing anything like that. And what I didn't understand, you know, when I was researching this as well, was like, but why are you doing that? I mean, like, if you claim to love this girl and you want to be with her, you're never going to get her back doing this.
Well, exactly.
You know, maybe if you were...
That's just going to push her further away.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you want somebody back, then you would be promising them that you're going to change. You would be I don't know, sending them flowers, like doing them nice things. Yeah, you wouldn't be posting stuff about them on malicious stuff on Facebook.
Exactly.
So Molly was scared now. Like, he just wasn't leaving her alone, and she was terrified that he might turn up at her house. And she messaged her friends and family saying, Josh has turned nasty, I'm scared he might hurt me. So that's, obviously I've just kind of said a couple of things that he's done, but he obviously must have been doing a lot more than that, because she was, poor girl was terrified.
Yeah, what a shame.
And then Joshua posted a particular chilling message online saying, there's more to come.
Oh. Right.
So Molly decided, right, enough is enough. Like, she printed off the abuse, and her mum went to the police station and reported him.
Quite right.
A police officer phoned Joshua and put him on loudspeaker so that Molly and her mum could hear the conversation. Mm-hmm. The officer asked Joshua to take the abusive content down, and then the officer said, quote, we're not going to have to talk about this again, are we? End quote. And Joshua replied, aren't we?
Oh my goodness.
I mean...
Oh, that's just sent shivers down my spine.
That's cocky. It's like, do you think you're untouchable? Like, that's a police officer. I'm sorry. If a policeman phones me, I'm like, okay, officer. Yeah. I'm sorry, I won't do it again.
I won't do it again, I promise. But yeah.
I would absolutely shit myself if the police phoned me. But
then, like, did they go and... what happened after that then?
Well, I'm going to tell you. Nothing.
Really?
Yep.
So what, the police didn't do anything about that?
They just asked him to take it down.
Oh no! See, so, I think they should have been like actually going round to see him and even cautioning him or something.
Well, I think so as well. But
because from that comment, I mean, now, all right, at the time, I know you can't predict what's going to happen, but now we know he clearly meant that when he said, "Aren't we?" Because he knew that other stuff was going to happen.
I think something should have been done, and as I'll get onto later, he does have a past, and there is a thing with another police force, like
it's like we don't. I don't know if it's a thing in the UK, but it's like we're too easy to give people a chance. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't just go in there and go, actually no, that's enough. We're punishing you for whatever. They're too quick to go, oh, you know what, that's unacceptable, but don't do it again. Just give people a chance, and then
I know we've seen it in the past. When people have maybe done something in their younger years and they've just got like a warning from the police, and then they went on to later on do worse things. And
I just wonder, obviously I know it's not going to be the case for every single person, but I wonder how many future crimes could be prevented by being harder the first time there's an incident, the first time something you're aware of something. I
think it should be like, no matter what it is, I think like just come down harder on people. And as we'll see in this later on, the laws actually have, well, I don't like stalking is getting treated as more serious than what it obviously did at this point. But we'll get to that later. But Molly's, because obviously Molly's mum heard what he said on the phone because she was at the police station, and she was so worried that she printed off photos of Joshua and she handed them out to their neighbours so that they could let them know just if they seen him hanging about or anything like that. So
it's quite a sensible thing to do.
Yeah. So on the 27th of June 2017, Joshua went to work. I can't remember actually. I didn't write down what. I think he was maybe a double glazing salesman or something. I can't remember. He did have a job anyway. Right. There's no relevance whatsoever. But he left early that day and he went to Asda and he bought a Sabatier paring knife. I'm not quite sure what that. I just kind of looked it up and I think it's just like a sharp kitchen knife. I think.
Right, okay.
I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
But he bought a knife anyway, which is chilling. And then later he went to another shop and he bought a pickaxe.
God.
He didn't use it. Not a pickaxe anyway. Spoiler alert. That evening, the police called Molly and they told her that Joshua had agreed to take the abuse. That evening, I'm not even going to address it. The police called Molly and they told her that Joshua had agreed to take the abusive social media posts down. So they must. I don't know if they must have spoke to him again.
I was just going to say. So when they phoned him the first time, he obviously hadn't done it, and then all of a sudden, I'm going to take it down.
Yeah, so I think they must have spoke to him again. I don't know if they've maybe... I don't know how that worked. I don't know if maybe Molly or her family let the police know that the abusive content was still there, maybe or the police have just checked in on him to see if he'd done it. I don't know.
Maybe.
But he had agreed, so she must have felt relieved.
Yeah.
So by now, all of Molly's friends and family had blocked Joshua, so she believed that he couldn't see anything that she was posting.
Right.
And since he was taking the abusive content down, I'm assuming that she was hoping that was it. It was all over. But obviously, unfortunately not.
No.
Joshua had managed to manipulate a girl into adding Molly as a friend on social media. Mm-hmm. So this girl was going back to him and...
See that, again, like, I know people can be naive, but I don't add anybody that I don't know. So if you didn't know the girl, why is she requesting you as a friend? And two, why would you even accept that? Because I've had plenty of friend requests where I'm like, I don't know who you are.
Yeah.
So I just delete it. Like, I would never add anybody I don't know.
But... she is trying to have an online presence, remember, as, you know, where fitness blog and things like that, so maybe that's why.
Maybe, yeah.
But if you're going to have that, you should have it as a business.
Yeah, like not a personal page.
Yeah, it's like us, you know, we have our Crime Divers Instagram and Twitter, and that's not our personal details, that's only podcast stuff that's on it, so...
True. Yeah,
but,
true, I know.
Yeah, anyway, so he gained access to see where Molly was and what she was doing.
Right.
So on the 28th of June, Molly was getting ready to go out for a meal with friends, and she posted on Facebook saying where she was going. Mm-hmm. So of course she had no idea that Joshua would be aware of that and know exactly where she was going to be. Mm. So Molly and her friends were celebrating her enrolment on a personal trainer course, and one of her friends had been promoted, so they were all, you know, happy, having a good night.
Of course, big celebration.
Yeah, but then Joshua walked in with a girl. Mm-hmm. Molly and her friends, they were surprised, but they actually just did think it was a coincidence because they had no idea that he could see their social media. Mm-hmm. Because all of them had him blocked. Yeah. So, in a way though, like, in Molly's eyes, it was sort of a good thing that she'd seen him on a date with another girl because she didn't feel jealous at all.
And I thought she probably thinks he's moved on.
Yeah, and to her it was confirmation that she'd done the right thing by finishing with him. He's moved on. Yeah. You know, all good. Mm-hmm. But he did make the girls feel on edge because he was kind of like, he was staring over and like he walked past their table to go to the smoking area even though he doesn't smoke, and then he just sort of stood in the smoking area, which I'm assuming must have been like outside. Right, okay, yeah. And there must have been a window or whatever so he could see through, and he was just standing there staring. And like when him and the girl left, they left before the girls did, he walked past their table again even though there was no need because there was like more than one exit, and the other exit was actually closer. Right, okay. So, yeah, it just made them feel a bit on edge, but that was it. Nothing was said or done. Right. So after the girls finished their dinner, Molly said she was leaving as she wanted to get home to watch Love Island. So... fair enough. So she obviously doesn't stay very late because Love Island's like 9 o'clock. So yeah, I know because I watch it.
But you're one of these saddos that watch Love Island?
One of these saddos. I like Love Island. I like my reality TV, my guilty pleasure, bit of reality TV.
I like some, but Love Island certainly wasn't one of my faves.
I watched them all. Anyway, so the other girls stayed for another drink and Molly left. And that was it. That was the end of the night. Went home. So,
this is where it gets
rough, yeah. The next day, the 29th of June 2017, Molly got up, she got ready and got into her car and she drove to her gym at Dockside Shopping Centre in Chatham as she wanted to record another fitness blog and post it online. Yeah. She was totally unaware that she was being followed by Joshua. Right. She arrived at the gym just before 10 a.m. It was really quiet and she virtually had the place to herself. Mm-hmm. And I watched the gym's CCTV. Right, okay. So you see Joshua entering the gym and then he walks up the stairs because where Molly was up at the top of the stairs and going to her room. So he walks up to the top of the stairs, but then it looks like he changes his mind, so he like turns round and like walks back down the stairs. Right. But before he gets to the bottom, he obviously changes his mind again and turns round and comes back upstairs. Right. And he goes into the room where Molly is. She's just by herself. She's on a mat, like just working, doing floor exercises. And he obviously had got a mat and just walked right past her and put his mat down. Do you like how I'm doing the arm movements? I'm actually showing Laura where he was. Yeah. But yeah, like he was quite close to her. And he was doing his exercise, and you can see her kind of stopping and like pressing the button on her phone. Right. And
so she obviously realises it is there.
Yeah. So like I think she had her back to him, but I think she must have just heard him walking past and just turned around. Mm-hmm. So she took a photo of him, obviously discreetly, and she sent she texted her friend Amy with the photo just saying he's just turned up and like come right next to me. So I think she kind of like got up the courage and she went over to speak to him, and you actually see it on CTV as well. It's quite chilling to watch it because when you know what's going to happen,
I'm going to have to see this now.
Yeah. So Molly went over to him and she asked him why he wasn't at work, and he replied saying, "I don't think that's any of your business."
Right.
Excuse me, like, I'm here, and you just walked right past me. We used to have a relationship. Yeah. Like, I've got every right to come over and just say, why you're not at work. Like,
definitely. Why not?
Yeah, and why are you right here next to me? Like, there's plenty of room. Go somewhere else.
Exactly.
So, where am I? So Molly was terrified.
Of course.
And she was texting Amy saying that she hadn't posted anywhere online.
Just not Amelia.
No, Amy. Amy was a different friend.
Oh,
Amy. Sorry.
I'm getting confused.
Amelia was her friend from uni, and Amy is her friend from Ted Baker. I think she's kind of her best friend.
Right,
Amy.
okay. So there is an Amy.
Yeah, there is an Amy. So she was texting Amy saying that she hadn't posted anywhere online that she was going to the gym, so no one should know where she was. And I think probably that's when she realised that he must have followed her.
Yeah.
So after a while, Joshua got up and left. And Molly was kind of, because obviously she was texting Amy as well, and she was kind of saying that she didn't really know what to do. Like, do I stay? Do I go? Like, is he waiting? Whatever. So she texted Amy, and Amy had said, just leave and go home. So Molly phoned her mum and told her what was going on. And her mum also told her, just leave and come straight home.
Yeah.
But none of them could have possibly known that Joshua had been driving round the car park waiting for Molly to leave. So, Molly got her stuff together, and she texted Amy again saying, quote, "I'm always fucking looking over my shoulder," end quote. Amy replied saying, "Just get in your car and leave."
Yeah.
And Molly said, "I'm walking to my car now." So Amy replied saying, "Don't worry about him, he's a psycho."
Yeah.
Molly read the message, it came up saying it's read, but she didn't reply. So Amy assumed that she'd got in her car and she was driving home. Yeah. Unfortunately, that wasn't the case. Molly had gotten into her car, and Joshua walked over, yanked the passenger side door open, got in the car, and attacked her. He stabbed her 75 times.
75 times?
75 times in her car.
Oh my God.
So the attack was witnessed by multiple bystanders in the car park. Because this is broad daylight. This is like back 10 and 11 o'clock in the morning, I think it was.
Oh my God.
One of them, Benjamin Morton, he tried to stop Joshua by slamming the car door on his leg and try to pull him out. But I don't know, when you're in that much of a frenzied sort of attack, I don't know, he didn't manage. But somebody had obviously phoned the police.
Oh my God.
And when they got there, Joshua stopped the attack, got out of the car, wiped blood from his face, and calmly handed himself over to the police saying, "You want me. You want me."
Oh my God, that's horrific.
Yeah.
In broad daylight. I mean, it's bad at any time, obviously, but...
And people watching. Can you imagine being one of those people standing watching and
being helpless?
Yeah, not knowing what to do,
I think you would just freeze, personally.
Yeah,
I would probably just freeze, as bad
I'm
as that
assuming
sounds.
it did. I don't know, but anyway...
Oh, that's horrible.
I know, you just feel so sorry for her. Despite the efforts of paramedics, Molly was officially pronounced dead at 11:43am. So, I mean, she'd got to the gym at just after 10, so you're talking about maybe an hour and a half between her getting to the gym and she was dead.
Wow.
She was just 23 years old, and he was 26. And she was beautiful. I saw online videos of her and photos and everything like that, and she was, it doesn't make any difference, but she was young, she was beautiful, she had her whole life ahead of her. I mean, she was in her second year at uni.
Yeah.
She'd got on her course, her PT course. She was she had goals. She had her life planned out, what she was going to do, and at 23 years old, just because she didn't want to be with him.
See, that's what annoys me so much. Is
you'll get over it, mate.
I know, you've got to move on. You've got to, if somebody doesn't want to be with you, as hard as it may be, you're going to have to move on. And there are much better ways of doing that than killing them. Because you've not only destroyed their life, you've actually destroyed your own life. And her families, her friends, your family, your friends, exactly.
And
I never understand. I mean, again, it's easy to say 'cause I've never been in that position, but I've never understand how somebody can be so, gutted or upset about being finished with that they feel that the only way that they can well, I don't know if they're trying to get over it or not, but the only way they see they can do something about it is by killing them.
If I can't have you, nobody else can, kind of thing.
No,
and it's just awful because...
Why would you want to be with somebody that doesn't want you? I mean,
yeah, well, exactly. I mean, that's just stupid. You just don't want to be with somebody that doesn't want you. But, like... I mean, I'm sure nearly everybody at some point in their life has been heartbroken.
Mm-hmm.
Or has been dumped, you know, the rest of it. You get over it. And it does seem like, at the time, yeah, it does seem like, oh my god, like, that's it, like, you know, my life is over kind of thing. But you will get over it. Just give it time and you will get over it. It'll be shit for a little while. But then you just... No. So anyway, on the 23rd of January 2018, Joshua Stimpson's trial began at Maidstone Crown Court. He made a plea for manslaughter on the grounds of diminished responsibility.
Right
no, sorry.
Nuh-uh.
So, obviously the jury thought that as well. Yeah. So the jury took less than 4 hours to return a unanimous verdict of murder. Mm-hmm. And he was sentenced to life imprisonment without parole.
Oh, well that's good.
Yeah, so the judge had actually said during sentencing that Stinson was a highly dangerous young man who would pose a very considerable risk to women in the future. So, it turns out that Joshua had a bit of a past with women before Molly.
Right.
In 2013, so this is 4 years before, he used to live in Stoke-on-Trent, and he met a girl called Alexandra Dale in Newcastle-under-Lyme after having matched on Tinder. So they met in a local pub and then they went into town to Revolution Bar where Joshua told Alexandra, remember this is the first night they've met each other,
right? He
told Alexandra not to talk to any other men because he didn't like it.
Oh, really?
I would have walked out of that pub and just, not see me.
Yeah, exactly.
Nah.
You don't tell me.
You don't tell me what to do.
No.
When the night was over and she had gone home, by the time she got home, Alexandra had about 25 missed calls on her phone from him.
Really? Obsessive much?
Yeah. And after that, she said he made... I was kind of a bit... I don't think this was explained very well, so I'm not quite sure what it means, but she said that he would send her pictures of her asking why she was wearing certain clothes. But she hadn't been with him when wearing those clothes. So I'm not sure if she meant... he had seen pictures of her, maybe online or something, and said, why are you wearing that? Or if he had been spying on her
and taking the
photos.
Right, okay.
Because at first, that's how I thought he'd been spying on her, but then when I read it again, I thought, oh, well, maybe he'd just seen pictures. So I'm not sure.
Maybe it's been posted on
and she's saying, why are you wearing that? But either way, it's wrong.
Well, yeah, it's got nothing to do with him.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what she's wearing, it's got absolutely nothing to do with you.
Exactly.
So Alexandra went on holiday, and Joshua sent her a message saying he was going to fly out and drown her. No idea why.
Oh my god, right.
He also told her ex-boyfriend that she had slept with his brother. And he sent her a picture of her back garden, even though she had never told him where she lived.
Oh wow.
He also slashed the tyres on her car and told her that there was a surprise waiting for her when she got home.
Lovely.
They weren't even in a relationship.
And he was doing that?
When I read about that, it was described as an encounter.
Right.
So I think they only actually went out that one night. And then this happened afterwards, and she went on holiday, and this all happened while she was on holiday. And so,
yes.
And then there was another one, so this 3 years later, May 2016, Joshua had a very brief relationship with a girl called Leah Hubbard. They met in the Source Bar in Maidstone in Kent, so he'd moved to Kent by this point. They'd met a few times that week, and Leah told him that she was going to a hen do on the Friday. He wasn't happy about it and asked if she would be talking to other boys.
Really?
No, just no.
No.
You can't do that. And he also wasn't very happy that she visited her nan on the Sunday for her birthday. It was her nan's birthday.
And what the hell has that got to do with him?
And he repeatedly phoned and texted her using WhatsApp. So
Blocked.
Leah ended the relationship a week later. But one night he turned up at her flat at 2 a.m. saying that he'd been abandoned by his friends. See, he did have friends.
He did have friends, yeah.
He'd been abandoned by his friends in town and he needed to charge his phone. So she stayed up with him. Then when his phone was charged, she asked him to leave.
Right.
But he burst into tears. So she let him stay. Like, why are you bursting into tears? So the next day she told him if he ever came back to her flat, she would phone the police.
Alright, okay.
On a night out at the Source Bar, she said he was there as well, and he was watching her all night. And then on another night there, he spat a drink in her face. So lovely man.
Yeah,
so
sounds a delight.
That's basically what I got about that. So then after all this, so after Molly's murder, there was a domestic homicide review. It was carried out by the Kent and Medway Community Safety Partnerships about the handling of the case. I had to say that slowly because I thought I'll never get it out if I don't. I should learn to do that actually. If I know something big's coming up, just
take your time.
Yeah. So it found that Staffordshire police failed to adequately investigate allegations made against Joshua 4 years before Molly's death. So that was when he was living in Stoke-on-Trent and had harassed Alexandra.
Right, okay.
So the messages that he sent to Alexandra weren't recorded as a crime.
Okay.
There wasn't enough evidence linking him to the slashing of her tyres, and Joshua was just sent a text message from a police officer telling him to leave Alexandra alone.
Really? What is a text message going to do?
Well, nothing, because despite that warning, he went on to threaten to stab and drown her. So that was before when she was on holiday.
Yeah.
He still went and sent her that message.
I know it's funny, but there's not really any weight behind a text message, is there? Like when it comes, you need a police officer to be coming to you, or hauling you into a police station and sitting there and treating it like you are. Treating
it seriously and giving you a warning, a caution.
Well, that's what I mean. I'm not saying that every single stalking scenario goes to somebody being murdered, etc. But you do wonder how many more could be prevented potentially by just coming down a bit harder on them from the very beginning. The minute that they're aware of something happening.
Well, it should do now because it's changed, as I'm going to tell you. So when Joshua had moved to Kent, the police there weren't aware of him because he'd never been a formal suspect or cautioned for any offences, so he wasn't present on any police database.
Right.
So obviously if he had been, then things when Molly reported might be different. So the domestic homicide review read, quote, "The potential relevance of Staffordshire police involvement hinges on whether had things been done differently. Kent police might have found out about the 2013 incident in Staffordshire when Molly reported her concerns about Stinson.
Yeah.
This could have been achieved in two ways. First, if Stinson had been named as a suspect for a crime, a search of the police national database would have revealed this.
Right.
And second, if he had been cautioned or convicted of a criminal offence, this would have been recorded on the police national computer."
Yeah.
End quote. So Staffordshire police changed its policy, meaning that offers are now required to record stalking as a crime, even if the victims don't want to take matters further.
Right,
so
okay.
that's a good thing.
Yeah, definitely.
The officer who dealt with Alexandra's case received management advice, and the police admitted its investigation was not up to the required standard. A spokesperson for the police, Charlotte Slaney, said, quote, "Our thoughts remain with the family and friends of Molly McLaren. We accept that our investigation in 2013 was not up to the required standards. As a result, a police officer received a non-disciplinary action. So it was a management action by words of advice. So he just basically got advice.
He got talking to basically.
Yeah, basically. So Staffordshire police participated fully in this review. We acknowledge the value that it brings to critically and independently review our policing response. Significant improvements have been made to our safeguarding and investigative approach to stalking and harassment, but we have more work to do. I think this was last year this statement was made. We are committed to ensuring officers and staff understand stalking and harassment and their devastating impact so they can better respond to incidents reported to us. A dedicated stalking risk assessment tool has been introduced, which requires officers to examine the wider circumstances in each case to identify patterns of stalking behaviour and ensure that all investigative opportunities are being pursued. Officers and police staff have received refreshed stalking and harassment training, including from national stalking charity Paladin. Signposting to specialist support agencies was a key focus. Our systems are now able to capture stalking offenders as a standalone category, so that's good.
No, that's good.
So risks and offences can be captured at an early stage and victims can be given support and resources put in place. We introduced Tech SOS, which is a GPS based personal safety device provided for vulnerable victims in 2017. This provides covert emergency contact with 999 emergency police services and includes a location-based tracking system. End quote. So, the review of the case of the Kent police said reports made by Molly and her mum days before her murder were dealt with appropriately and proportionately.
Were they? Personally, I'm not convinced.
Personally, I think they could have done more than just phone him.
Mm-hmm.
But because they obviously didn't know, if they'd known what had went on with the Stavanger police, then maybe they would have done more.
I guess so.
But
I still think, I mean, I know police that have got a lot to deal with these days and stuff, and there are maybe some cases where it doesn't evolve into anything where, you know, the stalker just is an idiot and won't leave them alone, and then, you know, they get talking to it and that's it. But
I think that probably happens quite a lot though. There probably is quite a lot of people who, like, you know, how much abuse do people get online, you know, with trolling and things like that. So maybe,
I don't know.
I mean,
but it just seems such a shame that somebody has to die for things to improve.
For things to improve, yeah. I mean, it should have probably been improved before Molly. And I don't think Molly was the first person that has happened to either. I mean, like, that's the case that I've found, but there was, you know, there's been other ones as well.
Definitely.
So, 5 months after the trial, Rochester Cathedral hosted the graduation ceremony for Molly's university year, and Molly's parents were invited to accept the award of undergraduate diploma in sports and exercise for health on behalf of Molly. And I actually saw a clip of it, and they got the diploma, and the guy that gave him a cuddle, gave them the diploma, turned them round, and the whole place was just like cheering for Molly. So, since Molly's death, friends and family have set up a charity for people suffering with eating disorders called the Molly McLaren Foundation, which is just, I think it's like the Molly McLaren Foundation, all one word, .co.uk. But I mean, you can just Google it. I mean, that's all I did, just type it in. You can Google it and have a look. And you can donate via PayPal, or you can have a look at the events they have on. They have like a Molly Fest, so they have a festival for her, which probably didn't happen this year, but
no.
And you can actually read about identifying eating disorders as well. It really goes into depth about, especially I think, like if you maybe a parent or whatever, you know, you maybe suspecting your child or suspect somebody. It kind of tells you all the things to look out for. And there's actually a category on Molly, and it tells you all about Molly and everything like that. I mean,
have a look at that.
Yeah. As I said, it's the Molly McLaren Foundation. I'll put it in the show notes anyway if anybody wants to look up. And you know, I mean, people that are listening to this, they might know somebody who they kind of suspect might have a eating disorder, and you know, so it'd be really handy just to get some information.
Absolutely, definitely.
So, yeah, I mean, like, the rise of social media means that stalkers have found a new way to track and target their prey, and I don't think there's enough awareness about it.
No, and I think it's too easy for them now.
Well, so many people, especially younger people in their teens and 20s, I mean, they post so much detail of their everyday lives, and they don't know who's watching. I mean, even if you've got your account set to private, you would still have, like, for instance, I mean, obviously I'm older, but I still have people that I went to school that I haven't seen for 20 years or whatever. And I went to school with them, and so they'll be on my friends list, but that doesn't mean to say that I know them at all, really. No. I mean, you know, so exactly. I could be saying I'm going on holiday for 2 weeks, and they could be like, oh, she's got an empty house.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, so...
I must admit, I feel like recently, well, in the past sort of year, I feel like I've stopped posting so much on social media now. Like, I went through a stage where I posted quite a lot, but now it is very rare I post anything about, you know, even like, well, obviously like personal stuff, and I don't particularly post a lot. I mean, it's the occasional thing now, but I certainly don't. I mean, I used to go through a phase where, I obviously don't count this year because I've not been anywhere, but you know, you would go out for something to eat or something, and you'd be tagging yourself, saying I'm here, you'd be checking in, saying I'm there. But I've stopped doing all that because...
See, I think that's the problem. I don't think there's a need to do that.
Yeah, I got to the point where I was like, why do people need to know where I'm going? Like, they probably don't even care that much.
But why not say, when you come back, oh, I went out for a nice meal tonight.
Yeah, that's true.
Or I went out for drinks. And then you could say where you've been, which would be a better thing than saying where you're going.
Yeah.
So that's why, I mean, I think there should be more awareness. I mean, I don't know, I mean, especially, I have no idea because I don't have children at school age, so, but I mean, hopefully that should be something that they should maybe be getting taught at schools, their parents should be teaching them.
Oh, definitely, because social media is such a big thing now, it should be part of your learning at school.
Definitely.
About how to maybe deal with that and how to manage if you are going to go on social media, how to manage that and stuff. So yeah, I think that should be taught.
Definitely.
Parents as well. I mean, parents should obviously teach their kids.
Yeah, of course.
About it.
I mean, it's not only kids. I mean, as I said, I mean, we've done it ourselves. We, went somewhere and checked in, and so I just this is why I wanted to do this case. It was not my last UK one, but like for this season, it was sort of the last in the season of UK, and I saw this one and I thought, you know what, I think this is something that does need awareness brought to it.
Definitely. And
just as an afternote, in the UK, at least 2 women a week are murdered at the hands of partners or ex-partners. Stalking related behaviour is identified in 94% of these cases. Wow. Now that is massive.
Oh, I mean, you're right. I mean, most people that are stalked, it's always going to be by someone they know, that they've been involved in, that has obviously got a reason to want something over them or have a control over them. It's very rarely going to be a random stranger that's going to stalk you, is it? It's going to be somebody that knows you.
Yeah, I mean, like, why would it be, unless I don't know, unless somebody saw you, fancies you or something like
maybe,
that.
But generally speaking...
But yeah, of course, generally it's going to be somebody who, I don't know, maybe has a grudge against you or is apparently so much in love with you. It's going to be somebody who knows you, so... So yeah, I mean, like, to anybody who's listening, just be careful. Yeah. Just be aware that you probably don't know everybody that's on your list, not personally, not
I'm the same. I've got loads of friends that they're not really my friends. You're right, they're people I went to school with, or
we have friends and we have Facebook friends, and those Facebook friends are people that we maybe used to work with them, maybe we used to go to school with them, like.
Or sometimes just maybe somebody you've met on a holiday, or
because
I actually remember I went on
friends of friends.
I went on a hen do a few years ago, and obviously just met a few guys and people in a pub, and I think he'd taken some photos on his phone of all of us and stuff, so we ended up becoming friends on Facebook so that he could send the photos, I think, or post the photos. But then I remember as soon as I come back from the hen do, I actually just blocked him off of it because I don't actually know you. Yeah. Like, I don't know anything about you. I met you one night in a pub, and obviously, we had a few photos taken and that was it. But no, I blocked him off of it because I was like, I've got no reason to be friends with you on Facebook. I don't know you. I don't know anything about you.
And I don't want you seeing photos of, potentially your daughter or...
Well, that's it,
things like that. And that's why I find it unbelievable that when some people, like younger people... I mean, I remember one of my daughters when she was, I don't know how old she was, maybe about 15, 16 or something like that. And she was on Facebook. And I looked, because at that point I still had sort of access to it, so I could keep an eye on what she was doing. And I looked at her Facebook and she must have had about 300 friends on her Facebook. And I was like, you do not know 300 people, and I made her go through and delete every single person that she didn't know personally because she'd just been adding.
I bet she didn't have very many left.
No, well, probably not. I can't remember. It was, a long time ago. Well, about 7 years ago or something like that. 7, 8 years ago. I don't know, but yeah. And I was like, why? And I had to have the talk with her because you don't know all that many people, and some of them were like sort of friends of friends, like so maybe acquaintances. So I sort of let her keep that, but like some of them were absolute random strangers. And I'm like,
some people do just go through and like add random people and stuff, and I'm like, nah, don't know you, not happening.
Now that the kids are older, hopefully I don't have access to it anymore. So
hopefully they're a bit more sensible.
Hopefully they're a bit more sensible now. So but
oh well. So there we have it.
There we go. That's the end of the year.
Yeah.
End of the season.
I know. Let's hope. Well, I mean, this year's been good for us doing our podcast, but I'm hoping for the world it's a better year next year.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, this has actually been the highlight of our year. It's been definitely the one thing that has been positive about this year. So hopefully next year will be a bit better. So Happy New Year to everybody when it comes. And we hope, obviously this new year is going to be a lot different to what a normal New Year's Eve, Hogmanay, whatever you want to call it, what it would be like.
I know.
But enjoy it and be safe.
Yeah, and we'll
be back next year.
We'll be back next year with some more interesting tales.
Yeah. So thanks for listening. Oh no, we forgot to say.
Oh, don't forget.
Nope. If you want to follow us on Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, we are crime_divers_.
Do you know what I thought you were going to say there? We're crap.
We are crap.
We are crap. Maybe next year we might get better at podcasting. That should be our New Year's resolution.
Better at podcasting. Yeah, but then I like us because we're
like us.
Oh, that's not funny, but we're just
if you
normal.
can't love yourself, how in the hell are you going to love anybody else?
We're just normal. Like, we don't pretend to be like experts or totally like polished at this. We're just natural.
We're never going to be like that, are we? Anyway, where were we? Facebook.
Crime Divers Podcast.
Email.
crime_divers_pod@outlook.com.
YouTube.
Crime Divers Podcast. Crime Divers is all one word.
And Patreon.
Is your bit.
If you would like to join us on Patreon, where you can get bonus episodes, early access to episodes. If you pay the higher tier, you'd get a copy of our script sent out to you in a wee note. And the prices are as little as £2, which is nothing. £2 a month, which is nothing. So you just go to patreon.com and search for Crime Divers.
And we appreciate your support.
Yeah, any support would be fantastic. I mean, we appreciate anything and everything. And, you know, now we're going to start doing worldwide cases. If anybody has a case that they would like us to cover, then, you know, find us on any of the social media or email and just let us know.
Absolutely.
And if you want to chat to us, just do the same.
Yeah. And
we're happy to chat to people. We'd like a bit more interaction from our listeners. And hopefully next year will be our year for podcasting as well. You know, maybe more listeners, more interaction.
Yeah, I feel like we did well this year. I mean, we hit 1,000 listens, so...
Yep. So we've done a lot better than what we expected to do, so some people must like us, some people.
Yes. And I'd love to carry on doing it for as long as possible, so...
Yeah, so keep listening, and we'll see you next year.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Bye!